Question: is it possible to be confused for a good person when really you're just very emotionally intelligent? You just live by the teachings of the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I want to show you a recent example of this and let you, the audience member, be the judge. This is a comment left from one of my viewers named Mark, which I definitely appreciate him being here. His comments often lead to videos that I do here. The video I'm referring to is called Physical Fitness and Emotional Intelligence Should Support Each Other. Now, please note that's currently the title of that video. It wasn't when I first released it, and you're about to see the story here. So here's what Mark said when I first published the video. He was the first person to watch it and leave a comment. Here's what he said. Quote, "The title given to this video by YouTube, I guess, is The Reason Physically Fit People Are Often More Emotionally Intelligent." YouTube didn't name it. I named it that, for the record, but that's what he said. So what I named it, The Reason Physically Fit People Are Often More Emotionally Intelligent. That's the title I came up with. So he's saying that title is one of the most misleading ones I have seen yet. Taking care of mind, body, and soul are all equally important, and I have known many gym rats and jocks who were physically fit but had no emotional intelligence at all. Please, Nick, if you're going to use terms like that, then read and quote from Goleman or Solovay or Mayer so that people understand what the term actually means and how one can improve one's emotional intelligence. End quote. So that's the comment. And for the record, I want to be very upfront and say that I am very aware that many people at the gym that I see 6 days a week are not in a good emotional state. And while they physically are doing great things as far as reaching physical fitness goals, you can tell they're working stuff out here in the gyms where they do it. And that's good for them, and I'm happy for them. There's other people who are in a mentally great, healthy place, but they're just not motivated to go to the gym and do anything about it. So you got each. For me personally, my goal is to not be either of those situations, is to make every effort I can to have good mental hygiene and to also have good strategy so that I'll actually yield the results I'm looking for at the gym and also what I eat. So for sure, it can be a situation where you can be emotionally intelligent, or you could lack emotional intelligence and go to the gym and physically reach your goals, but then still be a wreck inside of here. Fully recognize that. Okay, so he's saying that, but the title he was saying was one of the most misleading. I'm quoting him. One of the most misleading ones I've seen yet. And again, I called it that. So let's look at how I responded to this using emotional intelligence. He perceives me as a nice guy. I'm not convinced I'm a nice guy, but I am convinced that I use the teachings of How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, which is ultimately emotional intelligence. So here was my response. I can change the title for you. What would you like for it to be? So Dale Carnegie teaches that ultimately, give the person what they want. Why not? What's it going to hurt? Even Jesus taught this. Turn the other cheek, right? If someone asks you to walk a mile with them, walk an extra one on top of that. What does it hurt me? Is my pride getting in the way? So immediately I just said, I can change the title for you. What would you like for it to be? So I'm giving him this power here, And he says, I would suggest something like physical fitness and emotional intelligence should support each other. But it's your channel. I'm always concerned about channels influencing younger viewers. Thanks for responding. To which I said, thanks, Mark. I changed the title in honor of you. This is just minutes after I published the video. This conversation took place and I changed it. To which Mark responded, you are a good man. He's saying that I'm a good man. To which I said, or is it that just I'm emotionally intelligent? Ha ha. To which he said, let's hope so. Let's hope I am a good man and not just emotionally intelligent. To which I said, you may have just inspired an interesting video topic, conflating a good person with an emotionally intelligent person. To which he says, an emotionally intelligent person is unlikely to be perceived as a bad person or act in bad ways or detrimental ways toward others. That is why emotional intelligence is so important for supervisors and managers to have. To which I said, makes me wonder how often emotionally intelligent people have used their power for evil. And I think that's interesting because I think For me personally, I think there's a thin line between good people and evil people. My wife and I just finished the 5-series, miniseries Turning Point on Netflix about 9/11 in Afghanistan. And it raises some questions. That 20 years later, have we become the terrorists at all? Having our drones just taking care of those targets, which included civilians? There's a lot more where that came from if you watch the documentary. It sounds like on Napoleon Dynamite. There's a lot more where that came from if you go to the dance. So ultimately, who's good and who's bad? If I were born in Afghanistan under rule of the Taliban, and it was either they take my life or I grab a gun and start shooting at the Americans, who's to say what I would do? Who's to say what's good and what's bad? That's something I've recently talked about on this channel. It's hard to know. We want to think that people are good and evil. But like an episode of Black Mirror talked about, there was an episode where they put a chip in the soldier's brain so that they could perceive the enemy to look like zombies. And it really added they weren't. Once they took the chip out of their brain, they realized there's people like, no, please don't kill me. Ah! But the government needed them to perceive them as enemies. So the perception of good people and bad people, I'm not sure I so much believe in that, because what's really crossing the line? Ultimately, I don't see that any of us are really good people. We try to be, we want to be, but we're all flawed. So I can see how, if you simply read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and you just cater to people's request, and you were nice, and you smiled, and you said their name, and you stripped yourself of all your pride, but you still wanted to manipulate that person and get what you really want by being nice to them, I could see how that could be effective. I could see how you could manipulate that. And actually, a coworker even said that after I read the book. He said, oh, you mean that book, How to Win Friends and Exploit People, How to Take Advantage of People? I could see that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I guess my question is, does it matter if I'm ultimately a good man or if I'm just emotionally intelligent? Now, granted, obviously, my goal is to be a good man. It's part of my prayer every day that I will be a man after God's own heart. And granted, I know, where is this coming from? I thought this is a guy who, what? But ultimately, I'm being real with you. I'm being real with you. I'm saying I'm an imperfect person trying to figure all this out. And ultimately, I can want to be a good person and be nice and be friendly and all this. But ultimately, even that almost is part of my pride. Get rid of that. Ultimately, if I just focus on other people's needs and making them feel better about themselves and get rid of my pride either way, including the prideful notion that I'm a good person, I'm a good man, even that seems prideful. I say get rid of the pride either way. And were my motives good in changing the title of the video? I hope so. I don't know. Am I a good man? I don't know. That's for other people to decide. But ultimately, the strategy behind being good is being emotionally intelligent. I feel like that's what the Bible teaches. So much of what Jesus taught, so much of the Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, that's what it is. It's emotional intelligence, helping you to get over yourself and focus on helping other people. And like I said, I feel that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, largely says this to you. At the end of the day, when you talk to people, they either want your praise or they want your pity. So just give it to them. Does that make me a good person or a bad person? I don't know that it does. But either way, I don't so care about the titles of being a good person or bad person. I care about being emotionally intelligent. Because to me, that holds the true value of being a good person. What are your thoughts? Where do they belong? Right here.